We saw a movie last night, Kim.
We did. It was so good.
It was good. Courtney exists in the art world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I exist not so much in the art world.
You just exist.
But I was barely.
Not so much. It's generous.
But I was intrigued by this. And what's it called? What was the movie called?
It's called The Portrait of Wally.
The Portrait of Wally.
Not heard of it.
Yeah, Egon Schiele is my favorite artist, extraordinary Austrian artist. He actually died at 28 in 1918
He
of
died
the Spanish
in
flu.
the Spanish flu epidemic.
But even until the age of 28, he was prolific. I mean, he studied under Gustav Klimt, and the film centers around a painting that he did of his mistress, his lover, Wally, and the portrait was taken by the Nazi party from a woman who owned an art gallery. But this painting was hanging in her home. And so the Nazis came, they took the art gallery, and then they went to her home and they took a lot of the art that was hanging in her home, which included this piece. And the story continues. It picks up in like 1950s and continues, and actually there wasn't a resolution until 2010.
Well, the heart breaks for the woman who actually, the Nazis stormed into her house, took all her art, I mean, threatened her and her husband with the death chambers. And
then a sort of rich, powerful man, who was a very well-known art collector.
He just scooped up all this stuff.
Scooped it up from.
And in the end, this poor woman who recognized this great artist had it hanging in her home. She was unable to ever get it in her lifetime. I'm not going to tell you what happens at the end, but it's quite an interesting,
it's sad
layered story.
Her last name was Bondi, and Miss Bondi was she was fighting for this painting, and in 1950 she was debating whether or not to take legal action because a lot of Sheila's paintings were going for, and his drawings were going for about $1,000, and the resolution came when the foundation of the art collector we talked about, which was Rudolf Leopold, they paid $19 million for this painting in 2010.
Whoa!
Yeah.
So $1,000 goes to and that's a 19.
This woman struggled, her entire life to get this painting back, and it went on to
I thought there was some type of law or some thing that required people that had that were Jewish in World War II and had their art or their gold or their jewels stolen, that it had to be returned. Is that not correct? That's
mentioned in the movie. Go ahead, Courtney. They mentioned the way they got around it.
Yeah, the way they got around it was, what was it, through the museum owning it?
Through the museum. The exception, there was a carve-out that you don't hear about, and it was for this museum, this Austrian museum. So as long as the museum is Austrian museum, I think.
Yeah, it was an Austrian museum. So when the Americans actually went in and found a lot of the art that had been taken by the Nazi party, and they returned it to one of the museums. And this painting was misrepresented as part of a collection with a family named Rieger. And the Rieger family gave their collection to this museum, and so this painting was at that museum.
So they're saying, look, this painting was part of the Rieger. It's we now have it at the museum, but it turns out it wasn't. It was they play fast and loose with the list of paintings that they have. It's fascinating how they. And
I do actually think that other things were put into place after this case, sort of the resolution of this case in 2010, that helped to ensure that Jewish families who had lost their belongings and those had been recovered would be able to have those belongings returned. That is Rudolf Leopold, the art collector, the Leopold Foundation, the Leopold Museum. That's his wife. I believe her name is Elizabeth. And the foundation paid $19 million to the family, the Bondi family, for this painting. Now, Egon Schiele, he painted 2 paintings in this series. So there's a self-portrait of him, and then this is a portrait of his mistress and lover. So actually, those paintings were very much a set or a pair. And in that, I think also Leopold or Rudolph, he was compelled to get that painting so he'd have the two together.
Leopold is her husband again. So this woman actually, she is a key part of the story, but she is not. I don't want to paint with too broad a brush, if you'll pardon the expression, but I don't think she's in a good. If you want everybody broken up into good guys, bad guys, she would be a bad guy.
Yeah. But it was a fascinating film.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Courtney, I really thank you. You
love him as an artist.
You turned me on to stuff I never would otherwise be exposed to. Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.